I just wanted to make a quick video for those of you that have had a loss in the campfire, whether that's a total loss of your house or just partial damage to your property. I used to be a claims adjuster before I was a coach, so I've had some good experience as far as, how claims are adjusted, the whole process for that, especially in the case of a total loss. If you have damage to your house, the first thing that you need to do is file a claim. So if you know that there's damage, get the claim filed. The insurance company will give you a pretty good idea of what the process is going to entail. Most likely in this case where there's a huge fire and there's lots and lots of houses that are damaged, they will try and get you some kind of small payment out so you have some money to take care of all the stuff that you need, clothing, food, while you're outside, while you're displaced from the house. They will also usually set you up with an additional living situation, whether they're setting you up in a hotel or if you have friends that you're staying with, they'll want to make sure that you have that set up and they can assist you with that if you need help. And then once you have the claim filed and you have your living situation settled, I would ask them for a copy of your policy. That's probably something that you don't have, especially if you had a total loss at your house. But getting a copy of your policy is a really good idea because that's going to list out some important things like how much coverage you have for the building itself, how much coverage you have for your personal property, the stuff inside the house. It's going to let you know what your deductible is. And it will also just list all the things that were covered. Generally on every insurance policy, fire is something that's covered. And then, beyond that, just be patient with the company because when there's a huge fire loss like this, it's just a slower process than normal, but it's the insurance company always will try to get it resolved as quickly as possible because that costs them less money. Now, that being said, you shouldn't be hesitant to take partial payments on it. It's going to take them a while to come up with a total settlement. In some cases, if the damage is high enough, they'll just pay out the full policy limits, but that's something that they're going to have to adjust over time based on the information that you give them as far as what was in the house. So the next step would be really trying to remember stuff that you had inside the house. Just start writing down a list of things that you can remember. If you have any photos on your phone, saving those in a spot where they're easily accessible is also going to help. The more information that you can give them, just the easier it is to streamline that process and get through the claim faster. And then, just remember that the insurance company is there to help you as much as possible, but they're also trying to look out for themselves. So there's always a give and take as far as when they're adjusting it. You may disagree with something that they have. You do have the power to negotiate with them. And if you feel like something's happening that's just not right, you always have the California Department of Insurance. That's a whole state body that's there, that's for the consumer, that is there to help with insurance claims. If you feel that something isn't being handled fairly, that is an awesome resource to use. I totally recommend it if you have any help, if you feel like you don't have any help. And then that being said, if you need any help beyond that, I would be totally happy to help give you any information that I have or help talk to the insurance company on your behalf. So get that claim filed, make a list of stuff that you have, ask for a copy of the policy, and then just make sure that you're in contact with them and ask them what the process is going to look like because they'll be able to tell that to you and give you some specifics. Just had a couple more thoughts. All of the insurance information is getting stirred up in my brain. If you had cars, motorcycles, ATVs, motor vehicles, those aren't covered under your homeowner's policy. You have to file those under your auto policy for that stuff. So that those things are just generally not covered on homeowner's insurance. Gotta file a separate claim under the auto policy. Boats often are actually covered under your homeowner's insurance. Sometimes there's additional coverage for a boat. So if you had a watercraft that was damaged, let the homeowner's claim adjuster know that, and they'll let you know if there's coverage for that. You'd also be able to see that if you get a copy of your policy. And then I wanted to talk about something called ALE. Sometimes it's called that on insurance policies. It's basically an additional living expense. That's part of the money that the insurance company is going to pay you for being out of the house. But what that actually covers is costs above and beyond what it costs you to normally live. So to live in your house, you have some component of rent and mortgage and food, water, electricity, all that stuff. Let's say it costs you $30 a day typically to live in your house. Now that you're displaced, you're living somewhere else, the costs are different. Maybe you had to pay $50 to live for that day. The insurance company is going to pay you $20. That's the $20 above and beyond the $30 that it costs you to normally live in your house. That's why it's good to keep those receipts for all that stuff while you're being displaced. But a lot of the time there's confusion as far as what that is, where someone might think that the insurance company is just going to pay you to live out of your house every day. They generally only cover above and beyond what it costs you to live normally. Beyond that, any questions, again, please let me know.